The Treasure, a Russian folk tale. Ralston's book, Russian Folk Tales, published in 1873, is a significant collection of Russian folklore. It contains several stories related to treasures, but the most prominent and detailed is simply titled The Treasure. This story is not merely about material wealth. It is a profound exploration of greed, envy, repentance, and the complexities of human nature. Ralston's narrative style focuses on the emotional depth of the characters and the stark consequences of their actions. Long ago, in a remote Russian village, lived a peasant. Though Ralston refers to him simply as a peasant, let us call him Ivan. He lived with his wife, Maria. They were poor, yet they lived a content life tending to their land and their cows. Peace reigned in the village, and life was simple. In the same village lived another peasant named Boris. Boris was slightly wealthier than Ivan, but he harbored a deep desire to be richer still. He often felt a bitter envy toward Ivan, despite having more than him. One day, while Ivan was plowing his field, he noticed a crow perched on a branch, cawing loudly. This was no ordinary crow. Its eyes were sharp and fixed directly on Ivan. Ivan ignored it and continued his work. However, the next day, the crow returned. It flew down and sat right in front of the plow. Ivan tried to shoo it away, but the bird wouldn't budge. It let out a strange sound that made Ivan feel as if it were trying to communicate a secret. The crow took flight toward a dense forest on the edge of the village. It hopped from branch to branch, leading Ivan deeper into the woods. Finally, it stopped at a massive, ancient oak tree. The crow pointed downward toward the roots. Ivan noticed the ground near the roots looked disturbed. He saw a few old, rusted coins scattered in the dirt. Picking up his spade, he began to dig. Soon, the metal blade struck something hard, a large, heavy iron chest secured with a massive, rusted lock. Ivan returned with an axe and shattered the lock. As the lid creaked open, his eyes were dazzled. The chest was overflowing with gold coins, diamonds, and ancient jewelry. It was a fortune beyond his wildest dreams. Overcome by fear that someone might see him, Ivan quickly reburied the chest and covered the spot with dry leaves. He went home, his heart pounding. He kept the secret even from his wife, Maria, feeling that this wealth was his and his alone. But greed is a strange thing. Ivan could no longer find peace. He returned to the forest daily just to touch the gold and kiss the coins. Slowly, Ivan's behavior changed. He stopped working his fields and became distant. Boris noticed this change and decided to spy on him. One afternoon, Boris followed Ivan into the woods and watched him unearth the treasure. Envy burned in Boris's heart. Instead of taking the gold himself, for it was too heavy, Boris went to the local landlord, a cruel and avaricious man. He told the landlord that Ivan had stolen a hidden treasure. The landlord, delighted by the prospect of wealth, promised Boris a reward and sent his soldiers to arrest Ivan. The soldiers dragged Ivan to the manor and tortured him until he revealed the location. The landlord seized the treasure and threw Ivan into a dungeon. Maria, desperate to save her husband, begged the landlord for mercy, but he drove her away. Maria sought out a wise old woman who lived in a hut outside the village. The old woman listened and said, "A treasure is not just gold. It is a mirror of greed and envy. Both Ivan and Boris are possessed by it. The treasure can only be redeemed if greed is cast aside." The wise woman gave Maria a strange seedling. "Plant this near the oak tree," she instructed. "Its leaves will be poison to anyone whose heart is filled with greed or envy." Meanwhile, the landlord grew paranoid. Fearing his treasure would be stolen from the manor, he decided to rebury it under the same oak tree for safekeeping. After the soldiers buried the chest, the landlord noticed the beautiful green plant Maria had grown. He and his men plucked the leaves, thinking them ornamental. Soon, they all fell deathly ill. Their skin turned sallow, and they suffered terrible pains. Convinced the treasure was cursed, the panicked landlord released Ivan from prison and returned the gold to him, begging him to take the haunted chest away. Ivan, having suffered in the dungeon, realized the old woman's truth. He brought the treasure home but did not keep it for himself. He used the gold coins to help the poor, sold the jewels to build a new church, and established a school for the village children. The village prospered, and Ivan became a beloved leader. Boris, however, could not handle Ivan's newfound respect. Driven by madness and envy, he returned to the landlord's ruins. The landlord had since perished in a mysterious fire that consumed his manor. To find any leftover gold, Boris was never seen again, consumed by the very greed he harbored. Ivan and Maria ruled the village with justice for many years. Their story serves as a timeless reminder: greed and envy bring only destruction. A true treasure is only found when wealth is shared and the heart is light.